Good morning and welcome to Coffee and everybody. Dave Richards here on the Blackstone Valley Explorer, and we're here with our crew today. We have Captain Bob Billington over here.
Good morning, Dave.
He's not going to be captain for long because I think we're going to make Paulino's mom captain, right?
I like that. We forgot the hat.
Yeah, that's right. We forgot the captain's hat. That's too bad. Although. Ramon will steer the ship for you, so you won't have to worry about it. Just mark out a few orders. And then next to him, of course, we have Dave Balfour over here on the side. Hello, Dave.
Good morning.
Well, there you are. And then over here we have Paulino. It wouldn't be a Paulino without Paulino's mom, but that's okay. Hi there, Paul.
Hi, how you doing, Dave?
All right. And now, would you introduce everybody to your mother, because she's sitting in the seat right behind you. She wants to keep an eye on you at all times.
Yes, of course. This is my mother, Bernice Eno. She lives in Cumberland.
Hi.
And she's 91 years old.
91 years old.
You don't have to tell everybody.
I have to tell the entire world.
Oh, that's right. Maybe we shouldn't have said that on the air. Although you did mention it when she got on. So welcome to the ship.
Thank you.
All right. Have you seen where your lifeguard is and the rest of that? Oh, wait a minute. No, Patty will be doing that in a few moments.
Yeah.
All right. And we have a young lady that we're going to meet a little bit later on over here, but I'll just get her to say hello. Carrie? I don't know your last name.
Snow.
Carrie Snow. Well, she comes from Maine, and that makes sense, doesn't it? There's lots of snows up there, right?
Yes.
All right. And then, of course, on the side over here, we have Patty McAlpine, who's going to be our stewardess for the journey.
Yeah, and you know what? I have Snows from Nova Scotia in my family. Maybe we're related. No. Welcome aboard the Blackstone Valley Explorer.
And, of course, Captain Ramon is back again, the longest-running captain of the ship I can recall.
Welcome to the Explorer, back again.
All right. Well, then we're ready to ring the bell and get the life vest drill. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's hear it. Here goes the bell. And we can pull away from the landing. Why 3 rings?
That's to let the 3 rings is to ask the captain. I don't know.
Oh, it's got to be 3 rings? 3 bells? Oh, when you back up, there's 3 bells. I learned something new.
I'm just a tour guide.
There you go. Now, Patty's going to show us how to wear our life vests. Go ahead there, Patty. She's got one specially set up for the drill.
The Blackstone Valley Explorer is a Coast Guard inspected vessel, and as such, before we depart from any of our sites, we have to demonstrate how the life jackets are, and they're available in the front 2 compartments. Actually do feel like a stewardess. And they simply flip over your head. Oh, they strangle you. Might have to loosen up mine. And you just hook it into the D-ring in the front and secure it tightly. It appears that mine's already secured tightly. So I'm ready to dive in.
Excellent.
But actually, usually by the time we get the life jacket on, the Captain Ramon here has us pulled us up to shore. And to be honest with you, in the 3 or 4 years I've been doing these programs, we've never had to use the life jackets.
There you go,
we have Coast Guard regulated captains as well as vessels, and we have never had any problems.
Excellent. Well, let's keep it that way. All right. Thank you very much, Patty. Now we'll come over here because Dave Balfour and I have to say something about one of our dear friends. I don't know how departed she is, but she's not with us today, and that's Diane Bashon from Windermere Woods, because it's a Monday morning Labor Day. And Dave, your turn, first message.
Well, first of all, I want to tell all our listeners to read the Valley Breeze, page 2, I think. Beautiful story about the Windermere Woods being deficiency-free.
Oh, yeah.
There is not anything at all. They sent a team from the State House down to find out any deficiencies they might have. They couldn't find a speck on the floor. So that makes it just about the very, very best assisted living center anybody can find. And Dave, you and I know, we've been there for lunch. I've had nothing better. I mean, it's like eating in a great dining room of a fine restaurant. And Windermere Woods is just the place. There's nothing like it. It's you meet these people there. It's not a nursing home now. Don't get people thinking it's a nursing home. It's an assisted living center for people who need that just little assist. And if they get sick, of course, there's somebody there to take care of them and help them or give them their medication. They have trouble bathing, somebody can help them do that. But basically, it's
well, they could jump off the Blackstone Valley Explorer. They can get wet that way, right?
Oh, sure.
We'll throw them a cake of soap.
Well, I was listening to Patty where they're giving her a drill a little while ago, and I said, if you forgot to say that in case the boat sinks, walk ashore.
Well, actually, the depth of the water in the Blackstone River where we are is much deeper than the actual sensors.
Yeah, right
I was
at the
talking to
border
Patty
there.
about that ahead of time because the sensors that you see, like if you go on onworldwide.com and you go to Arthur's weather page, and he has all the statistics on there. The depth of water in the Blackstone is measured in back of Kennedy Manor off Clinton Street. That's where the gauge is. And it is far less deep there than it is on the section of river that we traverse here with the Blackstone Valley Explorer and have now. This is the 10th summer, is it?
Oh, well, we've been here since
Yeah,
1994.
but let's get
Doing
you to
this,
talk.
mean?
Yeah.
Well, we've been sailing up here since 1994.
Oh, I see.
It
So
could
it
be
wasn't the
13.
10th summer.
Yeah,
Okay.
it could be 13 years we've been doing this.
Yeah, it is 13.
So
Well, this is
with you,
2007.
but with your listeners.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's great to have you back. This is always kind of like the beginning of the fall. It gets me out of the office and it makes me come up here, and it's just a great time. So we always thank you, Dave, for bringing your listeners along on this trip.
Well, you don't get a chance to see the tours as nearly as much now.
No, I don't, and it's
In
fun.
the beginning, you were wearing all the
Every
hats.
day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
But now we have a good, able staff.
Yeah.
Patty does a great job with the environmental education, and of course, Ramon, our river engineer, is he's almost like two people.
He's an engineer. Shouldn't he be piloting the train?
Well, we call him the river engineer because anything about this river, he's on it. He's there. He's cleaning it. He's captaining a boat on it. He's building docks and landings like here. He sets all this up. He engineers the safety line in front of the South Main Street Dam.
What are we looking at over there, Bob?
Looks like we're
Craig,
looking
can you
at
get a
maybe
shot there?
It might be a derelict canoe, or it might be just.
That belongs to somebody who fishes.
I think it's someone that's
Oh, that's great.
go.
So someone has their canoe and they enjoy the river. I think the boat being out here has kind of educated a lot of people that it is accessible. They don't have to be afraid. It's a funny thing. It's just recalling this. The discussions that went on early on when we put the boat here in Woonsocket centered around a lot of the Army Corps' involvement. Of course, this waterway was dug out and deepened, as you just talked about, prior to the Army Corps. The Army Corps of Engineers wasn't even the Army Corps of Engineers at the time that they did this. They weren't called that, but that's who they were, really. And they dug this out, and they built the riprap, and the city had a responsibility to, if you remember, even pulling the weeds out from between the rocks so the trees wouldn't grow and everything would stay intact. I think those days are gone, but people even talked about it's illegal to be on that river. You can't be there. It's the Army Corps controls it. It's unapproachable. I said, no, that doesn't make sense. This is a river running through it. We got to be able to. So I know there were people at the time, but we're beyond that now. And 13, 14 years into the cruises of this boat, we've taken probably 50 or 60,000 people just on this section of the river, maybe more. Patty could tell you. But it's encouraging other people to go out here. Now we canoe, we kayak, and we encourage people to fish. People can't eat the fish. Probably some do. We're not encouraging them to eat the fish. Department of Health still calls it a catch and release river. But one day, probably by 2020 or 2015, if we're lucky, sections of this river will be fishable and swimmable. Believe it or not, and 2015 is not a long ways away. So that's where the Blackstone River Coalition and those environmental groups all along the river are pushing for. So even if they don't make it by 2015, if it's within our lifetime, I think most of us are going to be very, very happy.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Although when you talk about 2015, you say it's not a very long time. Just try waiting for a bus that long.
Oh, waiting for a boat. No, you're right. But the Blackstone being polluted, being the I was thinking about this recently. We always talk about the Blackstone being the first polluted river in America. But if you think about it, who was industrializing? Were the Canadians industrializing before us in the top part of this continent? No. Were the South Americans industrializing before us? So we really are the first polluted river in this hemisphere, which is a big title. And that's been going on now for over 200 years. So it's good that since 1970, people in this city lined the banks with 10,000 other people and said, we're taking back the Blackstone, which allows us 37 years later to have a cruise on the river like we are today, and a beautiful day, beautiful river, wildlife all around, and you bringing it to people in their homes. Those that can't get out here, they can see it wherever they are in the world. I mean, what a great testament to all the work that people have been doing.
Well, thank you, Bob. That was the longest good morning I ever heard.
It sure was, but he really hit the nail on the head.
Should we close off the Windermere Wood commercial?
Well, we can tell you the very best about Windermere Woods. Windermere Woods is just the nicest place anywhere as far as assisted living is concerned, and the food there is magnificent in the dining room. Everything you can find there is just absolutely wonderful. So Windermere Woods, folks, on Mendon Road in Woonsocket. And Dave, you give them the phone number.
762-4226.
Okay, and ask for Diane Bashon, who's the administrator, or her assistant, Laurie Babcock, and they'll give you the tour of the place. And believe me, if you're looking for assisted living, you'll find it there.
All right. What's Paulino looking for?
He's looking at the at the hawk.
What's that? The blues are running?
Bob mentioned swimming.
Oh, you thought somebody was swimming? No, wait a minute.
There was a hawk up on top.
There was
of
Patty's saying there's
on top of the Jules Dumont Mill. There was a hawk that looked to me like a peregrine falcon from this distance, but I'm not quite sure. Didn't get a close enough look. But all of a sudden, as you were talking, I just happened to look and I saw this beautiful bird just perched up there on top of the mill, looking down at us. So
there are birds now in this valley.
Hold on a second. When you're talking, you have to get the mic near you.
Oh, well, sorry. There are birds now along the river you never used to see 20, 30 years ago. Ospreys, great blue herons, and they're common.
Yeah.
Ospreys in particular were almost extinct along the Long Island Sound and up the river valleys, and now they're back. It's just great. Matter of fact, I live up here in Upper Fairmount, and we had skylights put into our attic just so we could bird watch because of all the great birds that are around now.
That's great.
And it's all because of the great efforts of many people such as yourself to bring back the river.
Thank you.
Dave,
That's great.
Dave can remember he was broadcasting the Arnold Mills Parade, and I was in the control booth with another microphone, and I tried to call Dave's attention to the fact that as a parade band was marching up with a big American flag, an American eagle, and the bald eagle came out of nowhere and circled around and came right down over that American flag. What a picture that would have made. And then followed them a little bit and then took off. But we've seen bald eagles on the river and in the area.
Well, that's very nice. Well, it's time for us to take a little break over here on Coffee Inn. When we return... It's just Dave being graceful again. I knocked the microphone pack off my belt when I sat back down. Sorry about the silence, folks. Anyway, when we return, is that what I was saying?
Yeah.
When we return on the Blackstone Valley Explorer after this break, we'll talk to Patty McAlpine about the flora and fauna and other things that we see on the Blackstone River. On the Blackstone Valley Explorer, you can take a ride too. We're here to the end of October. All you got to do is just call, what is it, the regular number, 725-724-2200. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Dave, I've got to go. We'll take the break now. We'll come right back. Welcome back to Coffee Inn here on WOON Radio, ON TV worldwide on the internet as you're seeing out the bow of the Blackstone Valley Explorer. And it's a very interesting, not a lot of people think of water as being green like this, or at least so completely green. What are you doing there?
I saw a bottle.
You saw,
that was reachable, so on the way back we're going to grab it with our hook.
Oh, I see. You also clean things up?
Yeah, if I see something that's reachable, we take the hook from the boat and we clean it up out of the river.
Well,
whether it's plastic bottles, glass bottles, volleyballs, basketballs.
But you don't know what's in that river, dearie. I mean, safes, automobiles, guns. I mean, I remember back in the 1970s, Bob Billington talked about this, about the cleanup that began in the 1970s. And we had the river rat race, we had the river cleanup days, and we pulled stuff out of this river you wouldn't believe would be in a body of water.
Oh, I actually, when I came here in 1993, working for the National Heritage Corridor, I worked on one of the tire cleanups out in the marsh area, and was part of a long line of people that just passed around tires, and there was a dishwasher, a washing machine, or something else out there, large appliances. Captain Ramon pulled out a safe, though, once.
Yeah. What was in the safe? Did we get Al Capone to open it up for us? Jewelry was in the safe? I'll be a son of a gun. Yeah? I have to keep repeating what you're saying because the mic can't hear you, but that's... So there were valuables in the safe.
Yeah, jewelry and several other things that Ramon had told me about. He's pulled a lot of things out of the river. He's also contributed a few things to the river, such as cell phones and baseball
caps. Well, that's by
accident,
though.
By accident, yes.
Yeah. Well, Craig's going to take a look over here as we go by there. This will be El Dorado, right? El Dorado
the Fairmont Dye Factory. The Fairmont Dye, where they used to dye the cloth that was being manufactured.
What's all this green stuff that floats? In some places on the river, it's almost like a film.
It's
on the thing.
This is duckweed, actually, that's floating. It's a floating flower. They call it duckweed because the local ducks and actually some of the Canada geese it's part of their food source. So it's not algae. Some people mistake it for algae. It's just duckweed, but it will collect in certain areas after it rains and look. Insects will also use it for laying their eggs or for larvae. They'll attach their larvae to the roots of the roots actually float in the bottom of the water.
So it's attached to the bottom?
It's not attached to the bottom. They just have a floating root system. It's not attached to anything. Yes, hydroponic. It's a hydroponic flower.
I see. Because I thought it was floating, like it was moving along with the river's current.
It's floating, and a lot of times if you're out here, usually around dusk, I've seen the mallards, munching away at the duckweed. And I've seen dragonflies lay their eggs on the duckweed.
Well, that's very nice. Now, on the sides, we don't have the same flowers that we were having before. Those purple flowers that we see so frequently, I'm not seeing them in this stretch of the river. But I guess there was a lot of it. And is it still choking things off, or are we getting that under control?
Well, there's still some of it a little bit further down. The purple loosestrife is what you're talking about, Dave, and it will choke off some of the native plants. There is not as much of it down on this end. Where we actually have more of it is up in the marshy wetland areas along Lonsdale and Valley Falls Marsh. And it spreads rapidly, but they have been used. The University of Rhode Island has been working with beetles to help keep some of that under control in some areas.
Cool. And now, tell me, during the wintertime, obviously winter comes through and does its thing, and it freezes things out and all, but a lot of the plants just go dormant, so they're back again in the spring. What things actually disappear? I'm wondering.
What things disappear?
Well, did I ask it poorly? Maybe I'll rephrase the question. There's certain. Well, there's certain types of animals and plant life and stuff that go away, that migrate away. So they're not here during the wintertime? During
the winter, most of your songbirds will migrate south. Some of your hawks will migrate south. The red-tailed hawk, they'll migrate south. Matter of fact, September is a big time of the year for watching migrating hawks and falcons as they head south. Along in the Blackstone River is actually along they call the Atlantic Flyway, as migrating birds make their trips back and forth. Other animals will hibernate, such as the turtles, the snapping turtles and the painted turtles. They'll basically hibernate in under the mud, under the water throughout the winter season, so we won't see them, but they're still there.
And how do they breathe during that time?
That I'm not sure of. I'd have to look that up.
They'll have to come back up every now and then to take a mouthful of air. Yeah.
And actually, we've seen a few painted turtles out here. It's a nice sunny day, so we'll see a few of those as we head out and head back. So if we do catch a couple of those, we'll try to point them out. But they generally like to sun themselves on the bank sides and using some of the logs that have come down from the spring rains.
Well, Patty, there's another question I want to ask you. This is Labor Day, of course, and it's kind of like psychologically the end of summertime for us, even though astronomically it's not the end. The leaves will be turning soon. I know I'm seeing a few that seemed that like they wanted to turn over here. What's it like along the Blackstone River? For those of, I mean, we can't show them today on the picture, but tell everybody what it's like for foliage viewing here along the Blackstone.
Foliage viewing along the Blackstone is great because most of the trees that line the riverbanks are deciduous trees. Those are the trees that will turn colors and lose their leaves. You don't find very many coniferous trees along the riverbank side. So the colors, and actually just looking behind you, there is one maple tree that's already making a red color appearance, robing itself in red. The autumnal hues along the river, and then the reflection of those hues along the river kind of looks like a Monet painting. Just as in the spring, as the flowers begin blooming, you get the reflections of the early blooms of the spring flowers, the irises, you know, along the riverbanks.
Now, is that Monet or Monet?
I always thought it was Monet.
Okay, no, I just wanted to check. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm trying to figure out which guy is doing the brush. All right. So anyway, that's. We only have about a minute or two left, Patty McAlpine here on Coffee Ann today. We're cruising up the Blackstone River, and now what about the animal life that we don't see under the surface? How is that coming along?
Oh, it's coming along great. We actually have muskrats that will build nests in the bank sides. We've seen a few along the bank the last couple days ago when we were out on the doing a tour. They get to use the leaves, and they usually build their nests in the springtime, but they'll be around for a while. But before I close, I would like to invite people to come down and take a cruise with us. There'll be 2 tours today at 12 and 2 o'clock, Labor Day, in conjunction with the Labor Day celebration over at the Museum of Work and Culture. And then the first Sunday in October is a free Sunday on the river for local residents, thanks to grants supported by the Citizens Bank Foundation. And of course, we'll be running October Columbus Day weekend. We'll be running all 3 days of that weekend as part of our Preserve America Footsteps in History weekend, along with the Autumn Fest coming up. And one more thing I just want to mention: on September 15th, day of the French Farmers Market, you can grab a dynamite and come along the boat. We'll be running half-price tours on September 15th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And of course, French Farmers Market is at River Island Park.
Correct.
Patty McAlpine, thank you very much. Don't go away. We may have to consult with you at one point or another during the broadcast.
Well, you're welcome, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that I can answer.
One last question I didn't ask. Maybe people have taken this for granted over a period of time. What does it cost to ride the Blackstone Valley Explorer?
Well, we did have to go up in our price a little bit this year. It's now $10 for adults, $8 for children 12 to 2 years old, or seniors 62 and over. 2 to infant is free, which is why we did go seek support from Citizens Bank to offer these free Sundays to give people that probably don't have that kind of money to get out and enjoy the river. And believe me, like Bob was saying, these boat tours have made a big difference to the river itself. In the last few years since I've been doing this program, I've seen less trash being thrown into the river off the sides. People coming out here, they appreciate this wonderful natural resource they have. I call it the thread that weaves all the stories of the Blackstone Valley together.
Yeah, that's nice. Very poetic. All right, well, that's it for this portion of Coffee Ann. When we come back, we'll talk to the rest of the crew, take some more pictures for you, too, if you're watching on the computers, and sit back and enjoy, because we'll just take pictures as we go along while everybody's listening to the messages on Coffee Ann, on WOON Radio, NON TV worldwide on the Internet. And welcome back to the Blackstone Valley Explorer, cruising up the Blackstone River. Dave Richards here, and we have our hearty crew aboard, consisting of Dave Balfour.
Good morning.
Patty McAlpine.
Good morning.
And we have Bob Billington over there.
Good morning, everyone.
And Paulino over here. We have two other. We'll get to them a little bit later. It's logistically, it's not as easy to just go around the whole table because we're not sitting around a table here. I have with me Paul Eno, publisher extraordinaire, and a guy who knows a little bit about birds, who wanted to put in a plug for his favorite bird. What do you say, Paul?
Well, people often think of me as the local historian or ghost hunter or something, but I'm also interested in birds. And at this time of year, the earliest bird to migrate generally is the common nighthawk. In the last weeks of August and the first few weeks of September, you'll often see them at night.
Migrate to where?
They migrate to South America. It's a very, very long
Well, that's why they have to
excursion.
get an early start.
That's true.
Have you seen the highways?
Yeah, well, it's crowded with common nighthawks. Well, what they do along the river here, they follow river valleys, and most of them, there are very few who live in New England now, and a study has been done in which I participated, in which it seems that we have the wrong kind of rocks for them to nest on now, because they would customarily nest on flat roofs of commercial buildings. And in the 40s and 50s and 60s, we had a lot of smaller pea stone was used in the mixture that would seal the roofs. And now apparently they don't do that, and the nighthawks have stuck their little beaks in the air and won't nest here.
Oh my.
Which is a shame, because they are tremendously interesting birds to watch. They dive from a great height to catch a small insect we wouldn't even see if it was in front of us. And they also make all sorts of interesting, they seem like they had more fun than any other bird when I was a kid. That's why I got interested in them. But you do see them still passing through. Many of them live in Maine and Canada now, and I think Patty may know about this too.
Well, I think I saw some over at the Lonsdale Marsh, so I have a question for you, Paul. Do they kind of swoop like a bat, but they're larger, and they dive into the fields? Will they dive into like a meadow or a field?
Give me the mic.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true, Patty. They would be seen doing that. They don't do the acrobatics they do during the mating season or the nesting season when they're migrating, but they're very distinctive. They're like little Air Force planes, because they have each wing has a white stripe on the bottom, and they have very pointed wings. And if you're real good, you can tell the male from the female, because the male has a white neck band and the female has a buff colored neck band. But they're very, very interesting, and they'll swoop down. They almost never land on the ground, and they'll sit in trees horizontally. They look like lumps on a branch and they're nocturnal birds, so during the day you might see that. But they'll come along the river like this on their little wings, and they will stick their beaks in the water, and that's how they drink. They don't land. So they're very interesting species. Always been my favorite birds, very closely related to the chimney swifts that are very common around, especially Woonsocket with all the chimneys. They look like little cigars with wings. They're very much closely related to them, and they have it's the pointed wings and the wing straps you want to look at. So put in a little plug and put smaller rocks on your roofs so that they'll come back and nest here.
Every time I speak with this man, I shake my head and wonder. There's things that he knows that
So does
I
my
didn't.
wife.
There's things that he knows that I didn't know anybody knew. I mean, there's knowledge in that brain that I didn't know existed.
Well, how do you know I'm not making it all up?
I don't know that, but what a wonderful tale it is.
Well, I can tell you, he's not making it up, because I saw that exact behavior over along the bike path at the Lonsdale Restoration area, and I was trying to figure out, and I thought it was a nighthawk, but I wasn't sure. But they were diving into the field, and they were very quick. And I almost thought I was seeing things, and then I realized I saw one do it again, and I did see a little bit of the white in the wings. It was exactly as you described. So now I'm excited. Now I know what I saw.
And what did she see?
So it was the common nighthawk.
The common nighthawk.
That's right.
All right. Sounds like a detective novel, really.
Right.
Unfortunately, in New England.
They are uncommon now, huh? Well, they used to be everywhere here, but they're not anymore.
Well, when I was a kid, we had the 6 different nesting sites around where I was living. I'm a native of East Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And my mother remembers them too. I'm always talking about them. But now, west of the Mississippi, they're still very common, but east of the Mississippi, they're less common. And apparently, it's because of the nesting sites aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, but give us a break. I mean, the types of flat roofs these days are just very problematic with the icy winters. So you can't do it the same way anymore.
Well, of course, they're not here in the... Well, that's true. Of course, the nighthawks...
Yeah, but the roofs are.
Well, the Nighthawks don't adapt very readily. They're all Republicans, I think. They pretty much, they I guess have to become a little more liberal if they're going to nest in New England again.
I see. All right. Well, thank you very much. You don't mind if I move on to Bob Billington, do you?
You may go right.
All right. Yes. Well, Bob is not where he's supposed to be seated, but that doesn't bother me too much because Bob will get back there real quick. Yes, I'm very portable.
Just consulting with.
How much time do we have left in this segment, there, Craig? I should take a look at there.
About 3 minutes.
Yeah. All right. About 3 minutes. Oh, geez, that's nothing when you're talking to Bob Billington. Okay. Well, Bob, nice weather we're having.
Oh, it's fabulous. I wish people could feel the air and just smell the aroma right here today. It's just beautiful. I mean, it really doesn't feel like we're on the first polluted river in the United States. It really feels like that we're out in the middle of nowhere, and here we are living within the middle of 1 million people within 10 miles of us. I hope people take a chance to come out this summer. This has been a great summer for us. The weather's been good. It's been dry. Patty's been seeing good groups coming out. Whenever we get that little bump in publicity, we fill the boat up. But most times you can walk right aboard, and we're out here Sunday afternoons, 1, 2, 3, and 4 o'clock, providing these 45-minute tours. And if you've always thought about it, if you've always seen the boat but wondered what it did and wondered if it can really be that cool, don't wonder any longer. Come on out and get on board the boat and try it, experience it. Because the Blackstone, it's ever-changing. It's a living, breathing organism. But what you see out here in Woonsocket is just beautiful. Now we're totally in the middle of the wilderness. When we left the city, of course, it was kind of industrialized. But the stories that are told along here are really national stories of great significance, great interest to people, especially if you're local. You really want to know what they are so you can share them. So I hope people really take a chance this year and come out. And I think we're here till about October 26th, Patty? October 26th. So we have just about a little bit under 2 months now. And we can come out. We come out Sunday afternoons. Those are our scheduled tours. But Patty will welcome school groups anytime a school group wants to go. Adult groups anytime. We were talking about Windermere Woods. They come out with us and they enjoy it. Their residents love the cruise. We love having them. They're always lots of fun. But you can get out here and you can have wine and cheese or just cruise with your lunch. Patty will set up some lunchtime cruises for people, or just.
It's only 45 minutes or so you could have a Kiwanis meeting here. You already have the bell.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you can sing. Singing is allowed. But it's fun. But whatever people want to do with the boat, that's what we want to accommodate them with. And it's not very expensive, but we'll run at their schedule. So you don't have to run on our schedule. We want to really run on your schedule. So we hope people will come out and take advantage of it, not in 2008, take advantage of it in 2007. I'd also like to say, the city of Woonsocket for many, many years now, Dave, has raised money, as we have, as the National Heritage Corridor has, to build a proper landing. We want the city of Woonsocket to have a nice, safe, comfortable landing that people can get on. If you're accessible, if your needs are wheelchair accessibility or walker accessibility, we don't have that yet. We're working on that, and the city's working very, very hard, and they have been for lots of years to raise the money to build that landing, to really make it something special. So what people see today as they walk down the ramp is nothing compared to what they're going to see in the future. And it's important, though, that people come out and say, I want to get out on the river. I want to see the river. I want the city to build this landing. We need it. We need a great place to step off onto the Explorer with. But also, too, just before we left here, Dave, someone had come down and they wanted to take their canoe out here. And we don't have the best of accesses. So
Cold Spring Park has a ramp.
Cold Spring Park has a ramp, but that's the departure point. But when they get to the that's the origin, but when they get to the destination, which should be Market Square, they need something proper there too.
That's true.
Because our hope is that people will canoe down the Blackstone, as they do, destination Woonsocket with whether it's the Vintage or Ye Olde English, the New York System, the Museum of Work and Culture, or the diner. It doesn't matter. There's something there any day of the week for people to enjoy. We need them to it's like a parking lot. We need them to stop, and be able to get out of the canoe and kayak, tie it up, walk out and discover Woonsocket and all it has to offer. So I applaud the city for the continued good work, and the mayor for wanting to see this built. We just gotta keep the pressure on and keep our state, who has the money that we're working with, just trained on that so our objective gets met, and we can, and as I said, we've been out here since 1994. It's now 2007. It's 13 years that we've been working on this landing. We want to see it sooner than later now.
Yeah, if you can.
But
and we are in Massachusetts, by the way. That's Blackstone Police. You probably hear the siren. We haven't heard too much of the city. There's been a truck rumbling by when we got very close to River Street. But we're not hearing and we're in Massachusetts right now. We can tell, of course, because of the there's no riprap.
There's no riprap. As we
Once
talked
you hit
about,
the border,
once we hit the border, the riprap goes away, and it was because.
And we've turned around, by the way, folks, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, because Woonsocket had a different need, and it wasn't needed down that end of the river. This end of the river was needed, obviously, towards the southern end of the river, to help protect the city from flooding, and that was a good piece of work, but what it did do, it changed the environment of this river for many, many years. If you think about it, the long-time Woonsocket resident might remember when this was being built. Because the river became upset and unnaturalized with the scouring of the bottom and the rocks being put in, all nature went away. And so the nature in this part of the river is quite a bit different than in other parts of the river that hadn't been reworked because of the flood control. But it's coming back finally. But it's taken from prior to 1960, I guess, to 2007 for the nature to finally come back, the fish to really return, the birds to really return, and all that stuff that we're enjoying today. I can hear peep frogs and so on and so forth. So all that to return, it's taken a long time.
Well, thank you, Bob. We'll come back in a few moments here on Coffee and, but right now it is time for another break. And let me just scratch my nose there for a second. And we want to remind you this portion of Coffee and has been sponsored by the law offices of attorney Robert Hope Larder, Esquire, on Blackstone Street. Not really close to the Blackstone River, as a matter of fact, close to some old railroad tracks. But the Blackstone Street eventually comes down to River Street, which isn't too close to, it's not too bad. Anyway, I'm trying to do a tie-in over here. It's not working well, Bob, but that's all right.
River, Blackstone.
Yeah. So anyway, Bob Larder's telephone number. Call tomorrow. Don't call today because it's a holiday. Is 762-4550. You'll either speak to the lovely Ron, or perhaps you might speak to the big guy himself and tell him what your situation is. Maybe you want to review a will. Perhaps you want to talk about your relatives. Maybe you want to do something with somebody who owes you some money, or perhaps you're the one that owes the money and you have to make some arrangements or something. Whatever the situation is, Bob is a fine attorney, thoughtful and thorough, courteous to a fault, and he's the kind of guy you want on your team if you're going to deal with the law at all, because these days, let's face it, the other side's going to get an attorney. You know they are. It's just the way the world is going, and you want to have one too, and you want to have a good one. That's Bob Larder, 762-4550, and hopefully next Monday Bob will be with us live on the panel. And we'll return with more on Coffee and right after these messages. Welcome back to the tongue-tied moderator of Coffee and Dave Richards here, along with our entire crew on the Blackstone Valley Explorer. This is our yearly journey up to actually into Blackstone on the Blackstone River, and then we turn around and come right back into Rhode Island again. We don't go as far north in the Blackstone as we used to. We used to go past the railroad trestle there, but that's gotten a little gamey for the boat recently.
Yeah, there's some debris in the water, Dave. Yeah.
So, I mean, we can look up there. You can look straight up and see the bridge near on St. Paul Street. But you really don't want to go up there with a boat as nice as this, because you don't want to bust it.
That's right. And we want to be able to come back.
Yeah, that's right. And so now let's get to the fun part of our program, and let's meet the intern. Bob's got...
It's a segment.
It's a new segment on Coffee and Bob Billington, you brought along somebody who's never met us before and probably will never see you again after today.
And this is the last time she's probably going to see me. Well, Bryant University, of course, provides great internships for its students, and of course they fan out into the community, business community, the non-government world. We've been interviewing several interns over this past week or so that are getting ready to take their internship. So they have a responsibility to find places that they can learn from that meet their needs. We have a responsibility as organizations, whether you're a business or a non-governmental, Tourism Council, to work with student interns. This is how young people learn, and so we're there to help, and they always help us so much. So today, Carrie and I had an interview scheduled for 11 o'clock, and when the chairman said, "You must be here no matter what," I said, "Okay, we got to get Carrie to come in early. We're going to do our interview on the boat." So this is Carrie Snow. She's from Maine.
Whereabouts in Maine, Carrie?
Sebago Lake area.
Was that?
Sebago Lake area.
Sebago Lake, yes.
Just west of Portland.
All right.
Yeah, so Carrie's
what kind
learning...
of questions do you ask interviewees?
My first thing is to find out where Carrie's going in her life, and she's come up with an interesting perspective.
Keep in mind, this is broadcast on the internet, Carrie, so feel free to fudge it a bit and amend your answers after the camera's off.
No, she's a very astute student, and she's looking at being a cultural advisor, possibly, to international businesses or American businesses, and how we do work around the world. And that sounds perfect for a Bryant University student, so I think she's got a great future. So our job, Dave, and you know, being on the board, is to figure out, is there a match with where Carrie wants to go and what we have to be able to do over the next several months? So that's what today's all about, and I'm trying to look at the internationalness of what we do for Carrie's purposes. But go ahead, ask Carrie a couple of questions. She's very articulate. Has been doing a lot of radio promotions and different types of promotions this summer, I guess.
Not radio promotions, but promotions out in populated areas.
Well, add radio promotions to the thing now.
Yeah, that's right. You're doing one right now. And what were you doing, Karen?
Various promotions, such as Verizon, Fios, and Pepperidge Farm.
Commercial promotions?
No, just we went to the music festival in Newport to do a promotion. I've been to Waterfire doing promotions and retail locations.
Now, when you say promotions, tell us what the work is like. What do you actually do?
We inform the public about a certain product or service, basically, and answer any of their questions, direct them in the correct direction if they are interested in the product or service.
Now, you have to do a lot of research when you do something like that, right? So you have to actually go and check something out and be sure that you know all about it before you start representing it to someone, right?
Well, the main research is already done. We're just hired as local talent through the organization, and we do have a certain amount of training that we have to do before we can do the promotion, so we know what we're talking about.
So if you were sent back up to Maine and given the task of saying, all right, now we need you to bring people down here to the Blackstone River Valley, and you've only seen it for about 45 minutes, what do you suppose you could say after this first impression?
Well, it's a lot like Maine, I would say. A lot of very similar trees. Not as many pine trees. I've been on a number of rivers in Maine doing tours or rafting or whatnot, and it's definitely beautiful down here. The bridges are different, add a little bit of an old world flair, I guess, to it.
Well, you have newer bridges in Maine?
No, but there aren't as many bridges of this sort along the rivers there.
You mean the old steel girder jobs?
Yes. Well, we do have plenty of them. They're just designed differently. They have a different look to them.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to picture.
They're not quite as rectangular. They're more curved, I'd say.
Oh, curved. Oh, that's interesting. You learn something new when you talk to people from out of town. And I'm sure that up in Maine you have a great many of the old manufactories that were along, or in your case up there, perhaps more paper mills than we would see around here. So there's still the industrialness that's around certain portions of the rivers too, right?
Yes, definitely. There are lots of old brick buildings lining the rivers and dams and remnants of the industrial past.
And what are you doing up in Maine to try to remediate the effects, or the negative effects on the river from the industrialness?
Well, I did work for an environmental group last summer, and that was one of their portions, was to help improve the quality of the environment. But there are many organizations, I believe, that are working to help the bay and the rivers. Casco Bay used to be quite polluted, but they've worked to clean it up a lot lately.
Very nice. Does anyone else have a question, by the way, because before Bob makes the decision of whether or not she gets to work with us? Oh, I see. Patty's lobbying the boss. She wants you working in her department. Oh, hold on, Patty. They can't hear you, dear. Come closer.
We actually have something that we're trying to promote that I think Carrie is going to be perfect for. It's called paddleblackstone.com, and we're in the middle of setting up a wet run or dry run of the trip that we've planned out with the Blackstone Valley Outfitters and the Rhode Island Blueways, and that we're working with John Monroe, the National Park Service, and he just sent me an email about setting up a meeting, and I want her to be part of that.
Well, I wonder if I'm sorry, was that Bob?
No, I was going to say, the trip is kind of interesting because it begins in Massachusetts. It's a paddle trip. You would paddle from Massachusetts.
What would Reverend Blackstone think about being paddled in this manner?
Well,
I think he probably paddled his
yeah. Well, but it's going to begin in Uxbridge. It's going to overnight here in Woonsocket and then continue and end in Cumberland. So it's an overnight trip basically for weekends in the national.
No. Is that on a canoe or something?
On a canoe? Yeah. Yeah. So we have them that people can have their lunch at select different places, enjoy the museum, probably taking the theater performance at the Stadium Theater. So Woonsocket really makes a nice overnight destination because much of it is within walking distance. So you can paddle and not need a taxi cab, but if you do, we can get you one.
Well, I've got to get George Floro then to put a dock in back of the Woonsocket Motor Inn, because his property borders the Blackstone River, goes right there and back, and he's got plenty of fine rooms that people can use.
Yes, it's AAA rated and it's a great hotel. We're hoping we're hoping that it's going to have a great fall. There's other things in the wind too that are going on that I hope will bring a lot more people to the city this fall.
That's nice. Well, Carrie, thank you very much for talking to us. I don't know if you found it a positive experience or not, but thanks for talking to us. We have to take a break now, and we have to go away.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on the boat.
All right. She talks funny. Those Mainers talk a little different. Have you noticed that? All right, time for us to take another break over here. We'll remind you, of course, this portion of Coffee and sponsored by the law offices of attorney Robert Hopelarder, Esquire. And that's the formal name. You can just call him Bob, for Pete's sake. 762-4550. Hopefully Bob will be back with us in person next time. They would have liked to be here, but the time that it was good for the boat wasn't the time that was good for the sponsors. So hopefully we made good on the messages there. We'll be back with more here on Coffee and right after these words. Welcome back to the Blackstone Valley Explorer. Dave Richards here on Coffee and for our annual trip up the river. It's always very, very nice. It's a beautiful breeze today, too. And I'm just dying to find out what Bernice thinks about her trip on the Blackstone Valley Explorer. This is your first, isn't it?
My first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how did you find it?
Very, very restful.
Very restful.
Restful and peaceful, yeah.
That's a common comment. I hear that comment every now and then.
Yeah,
Restful, peaceful.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You get a
relaxing.
Take
It
in
makes
nature?
you, pardon me?
And take in nature?
Oh, yes, I love that. It's so beautiful. It must be beautiful in the fall.
Oh, yes, it is. Very much so.
I imagine so. Yeah, maybe I'll take it and be able to.
Will you come back again?
I hope so, surely.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if Shirley can come, bring her too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's have final comments from our crew over here. Paulino, you have a final comment for everyone?
Well, it's just a wonderful, wonderful trip. It beats Lipitor any day of the week.
And how about Dave Balfour?
Well, I was trying to get Bob Billington to come back where he belongs because we can't. Yeah, we had a wonderful time today, Dave, and a happy Labor Day to everybody. And remember, the Museum of Work and Culture is right across the street. That's open today. And of course, as Patty mentioned earlier, there were free rides on Sundays during the summer. Mm-hmm. Is it every Sunday, Bob?
No, every fourth Sunday.
Every fourth Sunday. And but today being Labor Day, come on down to the landing, right opposite the old English Fish and Chip, as the best landmark I can give you to find it, and enjoy a trip on the Blackstone Valley Explorer. You'll absolutely love it.
And of course, this being Labor Day, no Do You Remember today?
I'm taking the rest of the day off, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with Coffee Ann, and then Do You Remember at 9:30 tomorrow morning. But I'm going to take the rest of the day off.
That's a good idea. I think a lot of people do that. I'm going to scoot over on the other side over here, interrupt our ladies who are talking to each other. Patty, excuse me, final comment there. You got about 30 seconds to say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, well, I don't want to say goodbye. I just want to say, come see me later today. I'll be down here at 12 and 2 o'clock. We'll be running a couple of river tours. And for the teachers out there that may be listening, to get back to school and thinking about field trips, we'll be doing joint programs with the Museum of Work and Culture. It makes for a nice field trip. You get to visit the museum and take a nice river tour looking at the history and immigration and social history here in the Blackstone Valley. And if you mention this radio show, we'll give you a $10 discount.
Whoa, that's nice. Carrie?
I just wanted to thank everybody again for taking me on the boat. It was unexpected and very beautiful river.
Thank you very much. And we saved the best for last.
Oh, no.
Bobby Billington.
Don't give me that.
We've only got 30 seconds here. Can you do it in less than 5?
Sure. Just thank you again for continuing this tradition. I hope other people will. And since the fall is here, the boat is here in Woonsocket, come out and join us.
Thank you very much. That's our Coffee and Show for the day. Programming is a little different here on Labor Day. As we mentioned earlier, Dave won't be in with Do You Remember? Russ Gorman has the day off today. Tom Brunell won't come in either. This afternoon, though, you will be treated to a pre-recorded edition of the Frank Sinatra Show with Dave Russell. Joe will take the day off and we'll have regular music for you. And lots of 60s music this weekend, this Labor Day weekend here on WOON Radio. For the rest of the panel, Dave Richards will see you with the live in-studio guests tomorrow on Coffee and. Make it a good and safe Labor Day.